Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Enlow Center, home of the St. Anthony Bulldogs. And tonight it should be a great volleyball matchup between St. Anthony and Effingham, two very talented ball clubs just getting underway with their season as they've been playing some good volleyball. And we look forward to a great volleyball match tonight between Effingham and St. Anthony. And, of course, this is the pink night as well. This is a big evening to raise money in the battle against cancer, and we're looking forward to a great night of volleyball, and what a great occasion for a big crowd, and that's what we have here at the Enlow Center. Greg Zapp is courtside. He is getting some information, and he's got the microphone down there. We can hear it's turned on and active, and he's going to see if he can catch a word with some of the coaches here after they have the meetings with the officials, and let's send it down to Greg.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Enlow Center. By the way, in case we haven't mentioned it, our coverage tonight is brought your way by Prime Soul of Effingham. So thanks to Prime Soul for sponsoring this, Mike and all the gang. We appreciate them. And they're good supporter of high school sports. And we're looking forward to a good time tonight. We're going to have an opportunity, we hope, to visit with both coaches. And if I have the opportunity, it's a busy time right before volleyball matches. Matt can certainly attest because there's a lot of things going on, getting the kids warmed up and counting noses and making sure everybody is here that ought to be and in the correct numbers. In fact, we've got a couple of different numbers than what we had at the get-go, but we're straightened out now. So I'll check with Christy Bailey to see if this is is this a less inconvenient time than others to talk?
Yeah, this is good. This is good.
I know. We're just getting started. Talk about what you think we might see out of your team this year.
I think we're going to do pretty good. We only lost two big positions last year, my backup setter and my libero, which are hard to replace, but we're working hard on replacing them. Other than that, I got 8 back that contributed last year, which is good. So we got some experience. I have a lot of high hopes. All we got to do is work hard and pull it off.
There you go. No coach that I know likes to focus on any one kid. But it's hard to ignore Haley Mathis and the success that she's already had, even at a national level, and that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, she is one of the best players I think this area has ever seen. I mean, she has got all the skills. She's going out to Washington next year, and I think she'll be a good help to them. And my girls love it. They love playing with her. She is a great kid. She's very humble, and she's a great team player.
This is fun, I know, for lots of reasons, but it's cool that we're all here helping to raise money for the battle against cancer.
Yeah, it's great. I actually work at the Cancer Center at Crossroads Cancer Center, and I see the people hurting every day, and I'm glad that we can contribute to just something small to help everybody make it through.
Thanks for the visit.
Thank you very much.
St. Anthony coach Christy Bailey. We'll see if we can wander over here and get in Lori Bonoff's way. I can't. I thought I was in a play there for a minute. I'm going to wander over here, Matt, just in case.
She's all the way at the end of the gym, Greg, so have a nice adventure across.
Hey, I'm standing down there. There's a big fan down here, Matt.
I see how you work this.
Whoa.
It's a nice night to come out to the gym. It's a little
I think
warm.
the huddle's about to break up here.
I'll send it on to Greg.
Hi, Lori. She's busy warming up people here. Let's see if we can bother the coach here for a second. Lori, congratulations on being back for another year. Talk a little bit about what you expect from your squad.
I'll tell you what, it's a little hard to tell. We've got some experience coming back, but we're also got some young kids playing varsity. So a little bit, we don't know what to expect. I know we can hit the ball. I know we're pretty big and pretty tall. But as far as how we'll play the game, we'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
Look like you have good numbers this year.
Oh, yeah, we definitely do. We're about 41, which we always are within about 5 of 35. I don't think we've ever been under 33 or 34, so a couple more kids than normal. But, yeah, glad to have the big numbers. Makes the program good. But, yeah, varsity-wise, we're taller than normal than what we have the past couple years, and hopefully can use that height and use the hitting.
Exactly so. I know it's just getting started, but going in, knowing what you know from last season, who in the Apollo do you think is the favorite?
I definitely go with Matt Toon. I mean, they lost their setter, but they've got all their hitters coming back, and they were a big hitting team last year. And then Mount Zion, It's just a real scrappy young team, but they were young last year, so they're going to have another year experience for them. So Mount Zion will be tough too. And then I'm hoping we're up in that mix with them.
There you go. We talked a lot with Christy a minute ago, and I wanted to touch on it with you, that besides the fact that it's the two city schools playing and all that stuff, we're here for a great cause.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good that we can do this. It's good that we put it on every year, and we've kind of had it as a tradition. I think we've done it maybe the year before I started as head coach was the first year they had it. And so it's kind of an exciting thing to be a part of.
Thank you, Lori. And we appreciate the visit.
All right, thank you.
Hearts coach Lori Bonoff. We'll send it back up top to Matthew. We'll have more on the pregame show here in a minute as we get ready for the Pink Out battle at the Enlow Center at St. Anthony High School. Our coverage brought your way tonight by our friends at Prime Soul. Back with more in a minute here on 97.9 XFM. With one of the coaches and thanking them that they let her have the MVP. That's the phrase that her dad used, letting her have the MVP.
Yeah.
And the coach said, I think she is the best athletic setter, or will be the best athletic setter in the conference. Now, friends and neighbors, you go to the West Coast, they know how to play volleyball. And that's a remarkable statement.
Yeah, it really is. Up and down the West Coast, as you mentioned, they're high-caliber volleyball programs. And, they say if you're good, they'll find you. Mm-hmm. Well, if anybody out west is coming to Central Illinois, that kind of gives you an indication that this is something special. But as Coach said, she really works well with her teammates, and she has a lot of athletic teammates that are good volleyball players in their own right. And it seems like St. Anthony could have a real nice mix here this season.
Rest of this St. Anthony roster includes Maggie Mumm, Lauren Schmidt, Lauren Wendt, Emily Wortman, Megan Nuxall, Logan Broniker, Raven Rinker, Rachel Schultz, Allie Esker, Isabel Moore, Andrea Dateman, Michaela Koenig, Jenna Woltman, and Taylor Damon. That's a roster for the St. Anthony squad. Now, the Effingham varsity roster includes Bethany Donaldson, Katie Blumker, Carly Glaspie, Stephanie Robb, Josie Zaruzin, Brittany Beals, Madeline Mitchell, Katie Roberts, Felicia Totten, Rachel Weiss, Shelby Nunemaker, Jennifer Fred, and Chandler Raymond. So that's the game on the varsity roster for this Effingham crew.
Yeah, a lot of names you're familiar with for both of these clubs over the last couple of seasons, and also with multiple sports as well. We see a lot of these girls playing basketball, and then also playing some softball as well.
Now you know what these kids are up to in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
So there you are. I think we're about ready for the official introductions. I'm not sure about any special recognition. I saw one cancer survivor in the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
That's currently in the midst of treatments. She played a little sports in her day.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about Leanne Schrader. She's here. She's Leanne Hardick now.
Yep.
But she was Leanne Schrader when she was a whale of an athlete for Effingham.
Very good to see her, and her family has been really struck hard by this, and all of them seem to be fighting through it as well as you could be expecting. But it is definitely a challenge, and they've fought hard as you would expect them to do.
You bet. Good bunch of folks, as is almost always the case with family dealing with cancer. As I'm telling you, it's not. It's awful for the person that has it. It's often not a lot of fun for the family. And I think we're about ready for the national anthem. I know that Kim Daters has her choir out here, or will in a moment.
Would everyone please rise for the singing of the national anthem? Thank you,
St. Anthony High School, of course, and our national anthem. And we'll look forward to being entertained by them all through the school year in various venues. Well, here we go. Let's send it down to the lineups.
Starting right back, number 10, Bethany Donaldson. Starting right front, number 26, Stephanie Robb. Starting middle front, number 25, Felicia Topping. Starting left front, number 21, Chandler Randy. Starting left back, number 14, Brittany Beals. Starting middle back, number 5, Jennifer Fred. And starting libero, number 20, Josie Zeruzi. The Hearts are coached by head coach Lori Bono and assistant Colleen Wessenberg. And now for the home team, St. Anthony Bulldogs. Starting right back, number 14, Lauren Schmidt. Starting right front, number 5, Haley Matthews. Starting middle front, number 11, Logan Broniker. Starting left front, number 2, Lauren Wint. Starting left back, number 3, Maggie Mum. Starting middle back, number 15, Megan Nuxall. And starting libero, number 4, Rachel Schultz. The Bulldogs are coached by Christy Bailey and assistant Teresa Vogt. We want to thank everyone for coming out.
There you have it. The starting lineups for tonight's action. And I hope it's as much fun as it always is.
There's no reason for it not to be. I think you're going to see some quality volleyball, and it should be exciting here at the Enloe Center.
Good crowd on hand, a lot of pink. It is indeed the pink out game.
We're so used to seeing a lot of red when these schools get together. It's just a lighter shade.
That's it. Lighter shade of pale. That's another thing. That's a song. Well, anyway, we're looking forward to a lot of fun. We'll see if we can keep you up to date on the Cardinal game. Brian, feel free to give us updates on the Cardinal game with Cincinnati during our broadcast. And if you get a Cubs score on those Marlins, hey, that's okay. Matter of fact, if you get a Pittsburgh score, that'd be okay, too, because Cardinal fans are wondering about that since Pirates have a one-game lead today. Changes day to day. So we'll see what's up. We're just about ready. Kids are out on the floor. So we're just about ready for action. The officials are checking lineups and numbers to make sure that everything's so-so. They say, turn around so I can see your number. Maggie Mum says, I'm 3. Now we're good to go.
Looks like Lauren Schmidt will be the first server. St. Anthony will have the serve. It's on the way. Passed out. Oh, no, almost out of bounds. Nice save by Robb. She got over to the bench, and Effingham free balls it over. Set by Mathick. They get it to Broniker, and Logan Broniker gets the first kill of the match.
So St. Anthony takes a 1-0 lead. That's how this one gets started.
Here's the next serve on the way. Driven to the back row, and again a pass shanked towards the bench. But now a back row attack as Robb again saved it. But it's passed up beautifully by St. Anthony. They work at the Broniker again. Cross-court kill, no. It's dug out of there. And they work it to the front row where it's tipped across by Chandler Rainey. And that'll give a point to Effingham.
Everybody's going up all hard. You're ready to knock it down, and she just dinked it over the net.
So Stephanie Robb back to serve for Effingham. Powers one right on the line, but it's dug beautifully by St. Anthony. They get it across the net. Now they put Effingham in a scramble. They have to free ball it back across. St. Anthony looking to take advantage. They run a quick hitter to Wint. It's dug out of there. And here comes the attack from Ramey. She's forced too far out, just has to put it across. And now Mathis aggressively tips it over, but Effingham's there to dig it out. First long rally of the match, and here comes Broniker with another swing. It was partially blocked, and Effingham gets it into the air. Here's Beals with a kill, and she'll get credit for the kill as St. Anthony was in the net.
You can't do that. So point again for Effingham, and they're off to the races here.
Robb again with the serve, serves it to the deep corner, but it's passed up beautifully by the libero. They get it out to Broniker, our outside hitter hits it out of bounds, but it belonged to Effingham as she just missed that cross-court kill.
Rachel Schultz, the libero, tried to get it in some kind of position, and St. Anthony couldn't capitalize.
Boy, Robb just keeps pounding that ball to the back row. This time it's tipped over by Mathis. Effingham there for the dig. They get it to Ramey. She goes down the left side line. It's dug out of there beautifully by St. Anthony. They get it to Broniker, who tips it over the block, and it drops down. And the score is now, I believe, should be 3-2 in favor of Effingham. There they have it correct on the scoreboard.
Scoreboard's just as important in volleyball as any other sports, isn't it?
Mathis will be serving now as she rotates to the back row. She puts the overhand serve across. Effingham gets it up. They're going for a right side attack. It's Ramey again. That ball is batted around and tipped over the net. Ramey has to tip it right back, and now St. Anthony has a chance for a swing. There's Broniker. She drives it cross court. The pass is shanked out of bounds, and it's tied up 3-3.
Josie Zaruzin tried to save that one. She went a long way for it and couldn't keep it in.
So 3-3 is Haley Mathis. Serves it across. Effingham puts it up to the setter beautifully. They go outside to Beals. Beals' shot goes into the net. That'll give St. Anthony, I believe, their first lead of the match.
Correct.
So it's 4-3 in favor of St. Anthony, and Mathis again back to serve.
I was doing a mental rewind of all the previous points.
That one bounces off a couple of hearts, and it's going to be 4 hits as they couldn't get it across in time, as that initial serve was awfully tough to handle.
These games, especially when these two teams are playing, really ebb and flow. You'll see it's really rare that somebody will rip off 7 or 8 points in a row.
Mathis with the serve. That time it's passed up to the setter. She goes for a quick kill, but St. Anthony's there to dig it up. They work a quick hitter. Wow. What a play by Wint as they worked it to her, and Wint tapped it across with the left hand. They went quick to the middle, and she got the point.
Mathis set her up, as a setter will do, and boy, Lauren Wint was way up there and tapped that one down.
So here's Mathis again on the serve. She passes, or Effingham passes it up to the front row. They get it to Beals on the outside. Her hit is blocked down. I believe it's down off of the block or into the net. Either way, Effingham's going to take a timeout. 7-3 in favor of St. Anthony here at the Enlow Center.
Back with more in a minute on 97.9 XFM. 7-3 St. Anthony leading Effingham in our first game of the varsity match. Effingham won the JV match.
Here's the serve. It's passed up. They get it on the outside. There's Chandler Ramey, but she hits it out just a little too long as she tried to go down the line. So another point for the Bulldogs, and they're on a bit of a run here. That's at least 6 straight.
Well, I was thinking it was 3-2. 3-2 Effingham, and now it's 8-3 St. Anthony.
There's a serve from Mathis into the net, so Effingham will take it to break the momentum and get themselves back into the service.
A little warm here. They have the big fans out on the floor, so maybe a little better for the kids than you might think.
Shelby Nundermaker into the ball game for Effingham as she'll slip into the front row. Serve across for the Hearts. It's tapped back to Effingham, and now Effingham will get a swing at it. That's Ramey with an kill attempt, but it's dug out of there by St. Anthony. They get it out to the outside hitter. The officials are discussing it, and they say, yes, it will be a point for St. Anthony.
There are junior high softball kids here. There are cross-country guys here. It's incredible. Kevin Palmer said between junior high and high school today, he had 9 sports events going on today. 9. Now, you talk about which season's busiest. Welcome to fall.
And welcome to a point for Effingham as again they work it across to Chandler Ramey as she gets a kill this time. She's an outside hitter, just a sophomore for the Effingham Hearts, but they have gone to her a lot early into this ball game.
I should have got some of those pink socks. You know, Prime Soul's our sponsor, and Whitney would want me to get some pink socks like the libero has. Schultz here for St. Anthony.
Now Chandler Ramey goes for the jump serve as she's moved back to the back row in the serving rotation, but she hits that one into the net, so the point will go right back to St. Anthony, and it's 10-5 in favor of the Bulldogs.
Or maybe Wayne. You would rock in those pink socks.
No,
Wayne.
I would not.
Here's a serve to Ramey, and it slips through her hands. So that passing error will put another point on the board for the Bulldogs, and St. Anthony's really been in control early.
Wayne did not even hesitate. He said, no, I would not.
Here's another serve to the back row to Ramey. They get it outside, swing, and a ball is popped up by Nuxall. St. Anthony will have to free ball it over. Effingham with another opportunity. They get it to Nunemaker. Her cross-court shot is out of bounds, and it'll belong to St. Anthony as they push the lead to 12-5.
And they aren't wasting any time, man. They're ready. They're in position to serve as soon as the point's done.
Here's the service. They get it back row, up to the front row. Attack on the way, and this one's pounded into the net as Bethany Donaldson, who's into the ball game, can't get that one to go down. It's 13-5 in favor of St. Anthony. Here's their next serve, and that one's going to sail out of bounds. So with the missed serve, that'll give Effingham the ball, and Josie Zaruzin looks to be heading back there to go serve.
Stephanie Robb rotates in here for Effingham.
So Zaruzin, the libero, with the serve. She sends it to her fellow libero. Pass up to Mathis. They get a kill from Mum. No! Effingham somehow dug that up. They have to free ball it over. Here's Mathis with the set again. This time going for Nuxall on the outside. Her cross-court hit is down for the kill. And St. Anthony tacks on another one.
He came a long way to hit that ball, and pretty placement just inside the line.
And around the block, too, of the Hearts. Here's a serve from Mum. It goes into the net, so now it's 14-7 as Effingham's going to try to cut into this St. Anthony lead.
So I know that Effingham's had a couple of points, but they've been on missed serves by St. Anthony. Effingham hasn't been able to generate any offensive points here for a while.
Effingham with the serve. They get it across, and it's out of bounds. Sailed long for number 5, and I don't have a number 5, Greg.
Could be Michaela Schrappa. She's number 5 on the JV squad.
Okay.
Or it might not be. How's that for decisiveness?
Well, with all the number changes, I was afraid something like that would happen, and it's just part of it. Now here's a serve from Nuxall, and she serves it out. So again, St. Anthony has given away a lot of points here, but they're still in control by 7.
I'm pretty sure the last 3 points Effingham's had have been on missed serves by St. Anthony.
Here's a jump serve from Effingham. Pass to the front row and tipped over. Effingham sends it to the outside. Ramey will have to just pass it over. Front row, they get it to Mathis. She sets up the attack, but it's stuffed down by Robb. Robb with the stuff block gives Effingham the point, and it's now 15-9. Maybe they can build some momentum off of that.
Lauren Schmidt was looking to do something great with that for St. Anthony, boy, but Robb was not having it.
Here's the jump serve, passed up beautifully to Mathis. There's Bronica with a swing, and that one's blocked. So St. Anthony has to scramble just to get a free ball across. Effingham gets it to Ramey. Her hit is blocked, but Effingham digs it out of there. We've got another wild scramble, and now the Hearts are on the attack. Chandler Ramey with a swing and another block by Mathis. This goes back across to Ramey. She'll send it over with a free ball. Now Mathis with a back set. Hit, attack. It is just out of bounds. Point on the long rally will go to Effingham. It's now 15-10.
That's one of the best rallies of this game.
Well, a lot of action here. Here's a jump serve from Effingham, and it's out of bounds. Just out on the right side of the court. So St. Anthony will have the service. And
Lauren Went comes back in here for St. Anthony. Schultz, the libero, sits down.
Lauren Schmidt with the serve. It goes into the net, and now she'll come back out as libero Rachel Schultz will come in. So it's 16-11.
A lot of problems with kids getting their first serve in.
That nerves can factor into that. You know, it's a big game. Here's Stephanie Robb, the veteran, with the serve. She puts it right into the court. St. Anthony passes it Mathis with the attack, but Effingham digs it up. They get it to Ramey, who goes for the kill. St. Anthony scrambled trying to get that ball up. Almost hit it, but the last shot sent it out of bounds.
I want to remind you, we're going to have this on the website tomorrow. You'll want to see this. A lot of athletic ability involved in volleyball.
Here's St. Anthony on the attack after the serve. That one's punched out of bounds. It'll go back to the Hearts, and they're slowly chipping back into this ball game.
3-point game now.
16-13 the score. Robb with the serve again. Passed up to Mathis. She'll set it up for Broniker, and Broniker's swing goes into the net. So now what was happening to Effingham is happening to St. Anthony as far as the attacks, and a timeout's taken this time by the Bulldogs. 16-14 the score. St. Anthony leading Effingham, and you're listening to high school volleyball on 97.9 XFM.
This season, ladies.
97.9 XFM, WXCF, Effingham.
Battle at the net. We have a 2 hits ruled against Effingham after the serve. It was overpassed by St. Anthony, and Effingham went for the block. Lori Bonoff's contending, hey, the first one was a block, and then she dug it, but the officials didn't buy it. So Haley Mathis goes back to serve. Forces Effingham back, and they're going to have to free ball it over. Golden opportunity here for the Bulldogs. They go with the quick attack, but it's dug out of there by the Hearts. Another free ball, though, and Mathis will set it up again. Little miscommunication. Mumm's able to punch it across the net, but Beals was there to slap it right back down, and it's now a 2-point game, 17-15.
St. Anthony had 4 kids up close to the net. That didn't leave much help back there and back, and Effingham found a hole.
So Shelby Nunemaker back into the ball game as Effingham serves it. Mathis with the set, and they get it to Wint, and her tap is just in. Makes it 18-15. I think she mishit that a little bit, but St. Anthony would be more than happy to take the point.
All's well that ends well in that situation.
So it's 18-15. Broniker with the serve for the Bulldogs. She gets it to the back row. Pass is a little off the mark, and they free ball it over. Wild scramble, and Effingham's able to get it back across again. Now St. Anthony on a quick attack. It's dug by the Hearts. They get it to Ramey, and Ramey sends a cross-court shot into the deep corner, and it gets down for a point.
Cotton set her up well that time, sent her out over there, and she had a great angle and drilled it.
So now Chandler Ramey, just a sophomore. Boy, she's going to have a bright future for Effingham. Puts the serve across. St. Anthony works it to Nuxall, and from the outside, she just pounds one down the cross court and gets the point right back for the Bulldogs. It's 19-16.
So it looks like they bent, but they didn't break, and now St. Anthony's got the momentum again here.
Here's the serve from the Bulldogs. That one's going to carry just a little long, and again, if they've had a biggest problem in the match, it's been their serving, Greg.
First serve, and that you don't have any rallies. You can't get something started with a good serve.
So it's 19-17. Here's St. Anthony on the attack. They get it to Nuxall. That one stuck right back into her face as Nunemaker and Robb were both there, and it's a 1-point game.
They were a little excited after that point. A little demonstrative. Not anything showy, just happy.
Robb the big middle and Nunemaker on the right side. That's a tough combo to try to hit it around. Now, serve is kind of shanked with the pass, and St. Anthony does well to get it free balled over, but now Effingham will have to free ball it back. St. Anthony gets it to Mathis. They go to Mumm. Her attack quick is dug out of there by the Hearts, and now they're working it across. Robb will send it over. St. Anthony gets it to Mathis, to Nuxall. She swings hard again. The block tips it, but it gets down in for St. Anthony, and they kind of needed that one to push it back to a 2-point game.
Effingham had been down by as many as 6 or 7 points. Gotten back within 1 before that one.
20-18 the scores. Mumm has the serve, dug by Zaruzin. They're going to have to free ball it over, and they can't get it. As Nunemaker tried to get up there, but the ball was so low and so tight to the net, she really couldn't get it across.
Well, at the angle, she's 6 feet 6 inches from the net. A little tough to get things up for her.
So it's 21-18 now. Effingham on the attack, and they pound that one into the net, making it 22-18, and another timeout taken by the Hearts. We'll take one as well. 22-18 St. Anthony over Effingham. You're listening to high school volleyball on 97.9 XFM. So St. Anthony 3 points away from taking game 1. Effingham trying to thwart the rally. Effingham in serve receive, sends it over the net. Mathis with the set. They go to Nuxall on the outside. She drives one cross court. That's down for another. And it's now 23-18.
Josie Zaruzin's been on the floor more than on her feet trying to save some of these.
Here's the serve for St. Anthony, sent deep, but that one's played by Effingham. They get it up to the front row where Rob has to push it across. Perfect pass up to Mathis. Now Nuxall has to cut that one in as that set sent her a little farther outside than she would like. But what athleticism to cut that ball in and still get the point.
Bethany Donaldson was trying to get the angle, and she couldn't. Ended up almost catching the ball.
Here's game point, and Effingham on serve receive has to free ball it across, but St. Anthony in a scramble free balls it right back. Now Effingham sends it to the deep corner, and what an alert play by Felicia Totten, the setter. She saw the opposite corner, being the right corner on the opposite side, was wide open, and she just pushed it over there on two.
Yep, Emily Workman tried to get back there and save it, but didn't have much of an opportunity.
So now Effingham trying to stay alive, trailing 24-19. Game point once again. Perfect pass up to Mathis. That set a little tight, forces Nuxall under the net as she went for it, and it's now 24-20.
25 to win.
Last points, so sometimes the toughest one to get.
2 points, you bet. 2-point margin.
Here's the serve. It's passed beautifully up to Mathis. Again goes for the right side attack for Nuxall. She taps it across. It's dug out of there, and now Effingham goes for a back row attack. That's Ramey. The ball is passed up tight. Mathis went for the kill, but instead got blocked back at her, and Effingham gets another point.
Boy, Rob is playing aggressive and assertive volleyball here.
And she's a force, that's for sure. So here's another serve for Effingham. They put that one in. They get it to Mathis. Another right side attack for Nuxall. And this one pounds through and gives St. Anthony the win of the first game, 25-21.
Megan Nuxall was not going to be denied that time. She delivered a blistering shot right in the middle of the floor for the win.
But a good competitive game in this first one, as we expected to see. Effingham got themselves down a little bit early, and really that proved to be the difference as St. Anthony went on that 6 or 7 point run there when they were down 3-2. And I know they were winning 8-3 at least, if not more, and that really proved to be the difference in that first one, Greg.
It was 3-2 at one point, and then St. Anthony was ahead 8-3 all of a sudden. And then it got to 1 at one point, around 20-19 or something like that. Then St. Anthony regrouped and got the win. So 25-21, Bulldogs win the first one. And we'll see what happens in this second contest. A little bit of break while the kids have a chance to get some water and their breath. I want to remind you, our next broadcast of high school sports will be this Friday night as the Effingham Hearts play host to the Paxton Buckley Loda Panthers.
My understanding is you're glad they're hosting Paxton Buckley Loda.
That's 102 miles I won't have to drive in each direction this Friday night. Wayne Moran says amen to that.
Forgot about the worst drive-thru in America.
Yes, and the worst drive-thru in America at an unidentified restaurant in Rantoul, although I'll tell you off air because I don't want you to go there. It was a perfect night. All I'm saying is...
Was it golden?
All I'm saying is we owe PBL a win. I mean, we owe them a loss. Excuse me.
Yes. I knew what you meant.
I think the Hearts will be sufficiently motivated Friday night. That ought to be a great ball game. So PBL at Effingham, Friday night, kickoff at 7 o'clock, and you can hear it right here on 97.9 XFM and 97.9XFM.com. Again, a reminder that Wayne's hard at work getting all the video of this shot, as it were, and he'll have it on the website tomorrow. Check it out.
I tell you what, if you haven't seen volleyball in 5 or 10 years, you really ought to come watch these athletes. This is just, it's a totally different game than what you've even seen, like I said, 10 years ago.
Yeah, if you have played volleyball in school or hang around at the Park District or something, then you come out here and see this, you're going, yeah, well, I'll just be up here in the stands.
And this really is a shining example of two quality programs here. We talked about it in the pregame. These teams are going to win a lot of volleyball matches throughout the season.
It is not unusual for one of these ball clubs to get 30 wins in a season. It's not unusual, and that's quite a tribute to both these programs.
Effingham will have the first serve. St. Anthony on the attack. They get it in the middle, and it's tapped across. And now Effingham's trying to scramble to get it up, but they can't do it. It'll be 4 touches against Effingham, and St. Anthony jumps out to the 1-0 lead.
In case you're watching the videotape, you'll notice that the teams switch ends of the floor. So it's not like Wayne ran around to the other side of the gym.
Here's the serve from Haley Mathis. She puts it across to the center back. They work it to the right side. That's where Robb is. Her ball was touched. St. Anthony now on the attack. They get it to Broniker. It's blocked, but digging it out of there is Nuxall. And now St. Anthony attacks again, and they get an illegal touch against Effingham as they're called for the lift in the back row, trying to dig it out of there. And boy, you just got to admire the way these two teams just scramble after those misplays, so to speak. They're still able to hustle and get something good out of it. Here's Mathis again on the serve. Effingham gets it set up beautifully to Ramey. Her shot into the back row is passed up to Ramey, who taps it down, and St. Anthony tries to scramble to get it out of there, but they just couldn't do it, and that's Effingham's first point of the match.
When we get a dead ball, I want you to tell me about lift. It's a lift.
Here,
not now, but when we get a break.
Here's the serve from Effingham. That overpass is picked up by Beal at the net. She almost timed her jump to spike it down, but she got it to work, and it'll go back to Effingham. So it's 2-2 now with Robb on the serve. Another one that is overpassed, but it finds a hole in the Effingham defense and drops to the floor. So a little misplay there for St. Anthony leads to the point anyway.
Worked that.
So it's 3-2 as Broniker goes back to serve. Broniker gets it across, and boy, that ball had a lot of drop on it, didn't it, Greg? And it gets down for an ace.
If that had been a baseball pitcher, that'd been like a screwball or split or something, man. That just dove.
She'll try for it again, but this time it hits the top of the net and won't go across. So it'll go back to Effingham. They trail now 4-3. Broniker comes out of the lineup for St. Anthony.
Yeah, they ran Emily Wortman back in.
And, you know, we mentioned the starters for these clubs, but they really have a set rotation. And usually you'll see about 8 girls on a regular basis. Here's St. Anthony working it to the outside for Nuxall, and she pounds it into the net. And one of the teammates tried to dig it out of there thinking it could have been a block, but it's 4 hits, and that'll go to St. Anthony.
Megan had a steam up, but just couldn't get the loft on it.
Correction, it'll go to Effingham, where it's now 4-4. Here's a quick attack run by St. Anthony, but dug out of there beautifully by the Hearts. They send it across, and here comes the Bulldogs again. That's Nuxall on the quick kill, but she can't get the kill as as Effingham digs it out. Again, here comes St. Anthony, and this time Nuxall just tap it over. They're so ready for her to hit it hard that when she just touches it across, she's able to get it down.
I thought they'd almost set her up too close to the net. She didn't have a whole lot of room to work. Maybe that is why she did that. That's and just tapped it.
Yep. So here's the serve from Lauren Went. She sends it across. Nunemaker passes it. She gets it right back, goes for the swing from the outside, and it's dug out of there by Nuxall. They get it to Mumm, who just has to tap it across. Now they go back to Ramey. Chandler Ramey drives it down the left side line, and that one gets down. So we're tied at 5 here in the second game after we had a good one in the first one.
Yeah, 25-21, St. Anthony won the first one.
So here's a pass, sent to the back row, and that's kind of shanked. But all of a sudden, the libero is able to get a swing on it, drives it across. Effingham digs it up. They get it to the outside. Now it's blocked. Beals is at the net. She taps it across, and here comes St. Anthony on the attack again. They send it to the back row, where Ramey digs it up out of there, and she sees an open court, and she just pushes it right to the middle, where it drops down and gives Effingham the lead 6-5.
Wortman was way back. She tried to get there for St. Anthony and couldn't quite get there in time.
So Chandler Ramey on the serve puts this one into the net, and that'll make it tied up again, 6-6.
Somebody has to win by 2. So something has to change here.
Well, we've got about 19 points to decide if we need to worry about that.
Yeah.
Here's the serve. They get it. Effingham gets it across to Beals. Was that touched? Yes, it was. So off of the block, Beals is able to get the kill, and it'll be 7-6 in favor of Effingham. And going back to serve is Josie Zaruzin.
I didn't see who touched it for St. Anthony, but there's an official on the floor as well as up on the net. They made the call.
They work it to the right side. There's Nuxall with the swing. It's passed back across by Effingham. St. Anthony pushes it to the net. There's Mathis with a quick kill, and she just dumped it right into the open court to tie the ball game up at 7.
About 1/8 of a second reaction time on that.
She just puts that across with her left hand so quick you can't even tell she's doing it until it's almost over. Here's Nuxall with the serve for St. Anthony. Effingham passes it up. They go to Robb on the outside. She gets it down the line, and it is good for a point. St. Anthony scrambled as Schultz did everything she could to dig it out of there, but just couldn't get it up to a teammate.
Change for Effingham as they run in Shelby Nunemaker again. Or rather, she sits down, and replacing her in the play is old number 5.
I believe that's Jennifer Fred. So here comes an attack by St. Anthony. The pancake dig. What a play by Effingham. They get it across the net, and St. Anthony can't return it. So it'll go to the Hearts, and boy, that can build you a lot of momentum as Fred just stuck the hand out and was able to get the ball to bounce off of it, and the Hearts eventually earned the point.
In the lineup just in time, wasn't she?
Oh, man. Here's a quick attack. No, a little miscommunication, and St. Anthony has to free ball it across. They go for a quick kill, does the Hearts, but beautiful dig by Nuxall. Now Effingham's trying to recover. They get it back to the outside. A swing there by Donaldson is blocked. Broniker now on an attempt. That one is knocked out of bounds off the block, so it'll belong to St. Anthony.
I don't know whether it's Rob or Totten or both of them that got that for Effingham. That's nice effort because I thought Broniker was going for the kill.
And she definitely did, but then the block just caromed out of bounds, so sometimes you can do everything right in volleyball and it still doesn't work out for you. There's an ace. Beautiful serve right on the line by Lauren Schmidt.
Not much you can do about that except say nice serve.
So we're tied at 9. Schmidt back to serve again for the Bulldogs. She sends that one deep, and it's a little too deep, and it's out of bounds. And that's the first service error I can remember of this game for St. Anthony. But that was really a problem for them in game 1.
Schmidt down, Rachel Schultz back in for the Bulldogs.
Here's a jump serve from Effingham, and that's going to carry a little bit too far as it sails out of bounds off the hands of Bethany Donaldson. So Effingham gives the point right back. 10-10. With a minute on the clock for the timeout when it comes up.
I don't believe that we've had more than a 1-point difference, have we, in this game?
And there's a service error. Another one hit out of bounds. So it'll go to 11-10 in favor of Effingham, and Robb with the serve. Robb sends it to the back row. They go up to Mathis. They get it to Wint, who pounds it across. Effingham scrambles to get it across the net, and now they will go on the attack. Mathis gets it up. No, it wasn't Mathis. Wint went ahead and hit it on 2, and she hit it into the net, and that'll give Effingham the point, 12-10. Boy, that was a wild scramble.
There you have it, a 2-point difference. I think it's the first one in this game.
Robb with the serve. Boy, a beautiful serve into the back row. A lot of topspin. Schultz tried to pass it up, but it went too far to the side, and St. Anthony's going to take a timeout. 13-10 the score. It's Effingham leading St. Anthony. You're listening to volleyball action on 97.9 XFM.
And, of course, Whitney, the voice of Prime Soul.
Here is Robb back to serve again. Effingham leading 13-10, the biggest lead of this game. Back row, Nuxall's going to have to attack from there. They get it across. Robb passes it a little tight, trying to send it over the net. Was Totten, but she had that one blocked back down at her, and then it goes off of her out of bounds. It'll belong to St. Anthony, and St. Anthony's happy to get out of that rotation spot. Effingham seems to have scored a lot of points with Robb serving in this tonight, all night long. Here's the serve from Broniker. Effingham works it over to Beals. Outside attack is blocked, but Effingham gets it across the net. Here comes a scramble play from St. Anthony. They push it across. Now Effingham's able to set up Chandler Ramey, and she gets a kill from the outside.
Somebody touched it. I couldn't tell whether it was going to be good or not, but St. Anthony got a hand on it, so it's a point for Effingham.
14-11 the score. As Nunemaker's back in there with Fred having a seat. Here's the serve, and it's passed by Nuxall. Up to Mathis. She's going to go to the right side. There's Wint. Ball was blocked back at her. She tried to pass it, but it'll go out of bounds as it crosses the net. And it'll go back to Effingham, and it's now a 4-point advantage for the Hearts. Here's the serve for Effingham. Into the deep corner, but they managed to pass it across. Nuxall with the swing. It's dug out of there by Zaruzen. What a dig. Here comes St. Anthony again, though, as they handled the free ball, got it to Mathis, who went to Wint, and Went just pounded that one down.
Lauren Went liked that one. She was pumped.
So it's now 15-12. Effingham with the lead. St. Anthony with the serve. Went back to serve. They get it passed up. Here's a right side attack for Effingham. It's dug out of there as they went for the tip. Now they go to Nuxall. Nuxall had that one either blocked down or she hit it into the net. Either way, it's Effingham's point.
Donaldson and Beals, or Nunamaker and Beals teamed up on that one for Effingham.
So here's the Effingham serve again, leading 16-12. They're going to go outside to Nuxall. Cross court, one-arm pass by Zaruzen, goes across the net and stays in, but here's Effingham on the attack. They go to the right side. It's dug out of there by the Harts. Hart sent it across the net. Mumm tried to push it back across, but it got into the net, and St. Anthony couldn't control it.
Rolled along the top of the tape on the net.
So it's 17-12 in favor of Effingham. They have the serve. They go out to Nuxall again, cross court. This time, Zaruzen can't quite handle it. It goes off of her out of bounds. That'll belong to St. Anthony.
Pancake serve.
Pancake dig.
Pancake dig.
Yeah. That one didn't work out, though.
All right.
Here's Effingham on the attack as they serve receive. Beals with the right side attack. It's dug out of there. St. Anthony has to free ball it across. They'll go to the back row attack, and that one's hit into the net as they tried to get it to Chandler Ramey. Ramey, though, just had her timing off a bit and spiked it into the tape.
From the house of Bryan, end of 7, Cincinnati 1, Cardinals nothing.
St. Anthony win control of the offense now. They get it out to Nuxall. Her swing is tipped by Beals. Effingham in the scramble mode manages to get it across. Nice job by Donaldson to put a little bit on that free ball. Now Nuxall's going to tip it across. Beals tries to block it. It's off of her and lands harmlessly for St. Anthony's sake anyway. And it'll be a point for the Bulldogs. 17-15, Effingham leading by 2. They go to Nunamaker on the right side. Sure swing is into the net. And now it's a one-point game again, and we're going to have a timeout taken by Effingham. 17-16 in favor of Effingham. You're listening to high school volleyball on 97.9 XFN.
Mid-America. Good luck this season, ladies.
Quick timeout by Effingham. There's the serve from St. Anthony. Effingham works it across to Donaldson. Her attempt is blocked, but she digs it out of there, and Effingham free balls it across. St. Anthony goes to Nuxall. Sure set, a little tight. She has to tip it up, and now Effingham scrambles, and they send it across with a free ball. St. Anthony goes back to Nuxall. She swings again. This one's blocked down, but it goes off of Effingham on their side of the court. So we should be tied, and yes, we are. It's 17.
We had to Cincinnati ahead of the Cardinals 1-0 at the end of 7. 2-2 Pittsburgh and Milwaukee at the end of 3.
Here's St. Anthony with the serve. On the attack was Mathis, but it's dug out of there by the Harts. They get a swing from Donaldson. It's dug out of there, and St. Anthony goes out to Nuxall. Her outside attack is dug up. Here's Donaldson again from the outside, and again it's dug by St. Anthony, and they'll go to Nuxall, who goes for the tip, handled easily. Now St. Anthony trying to recover defensively, and they do dig Donaldson's swing. Back outside to Nuxall. Nuxall's pass is dug, but nope, can't handle it. It goes out of bounds, and it'll belong to St. Anthony as they've rallied to come from behind here. They lead now 18-17.
That was a heck of a set by Mathis, and boy, you saw Nuxall coming, I think, from the dog pound.
Yep.
She was getting up ahead of Steven. She ripped that one into the Effingham defense.
Katie Blumker will see her first action of the night as she checks in there to replace Nunamaker. Here's Effingham on the attack. Donaldson answers for the Harts. Boy, they needed that one, and she pounded it down cross court. It's 18-18 as Beals will sit down. Robb comes in. Josie Zaruzen goes back to serve.
Cubs in Miami, 0-0, middle of the 4th. I know a lot of people are worried about the one.
Here's Zaruzen with the jump serve, handled beautifully by St. Anthony. They get it to Mathis. They go out on the right side to Nuxall. Her kill attempt is dug up by the Harts. Now a beautiful swing from the back row, but what a scramble by St. Anthony to keep that one in play. The Harts recover to get it a swing. Here's Mathis, though. She'll attack, and it's dug by Zaruzen. They get it to Donaldson. She goes for a tip. Mumm's there to Mathis. Now across to Nuxall. Nuxall's dug out of there. Now Effingham sends a little free ball across the middle of the court. It's dug by Mumm, and it goes across, and it just lands inbounds on Effingham's side, and it'll belong to St. Anthony after a wild play here for that point.
If you're listening, I hope you'll watch that on video. That was a great rally.
Tremendous effort on both teams, and St. Anthony was able to come up with the point. Now they have the serve, and it's shanked. The pass was shanked by Donaldson out of bounds off of a serve from Nuxall, and it's 20-18, and all of a sudden St. Anthony has put themselves in the driver's seat here in game 2 as well.
Remember, they won 25-21 in the first one, so this could be the deal here if Effingham doesn't rally.
Boy, Effingham, tremendous pass by Felicia Totten. Actually, she set it up for Stephanie Robb, who was able to get the kill. Totten took a pass that wasn't easy to handle for a setter and got it up there beautifully to give Robb a chance. The Hearts definitely needed that.
Yeah, St. Anthony get a point there, then they're up 21-18, and you've got to do a whole lot with a little bit of wiggle room.
Here's the serve. It's handled. They get it to Nuxall. Back row attack. He swings, and it goes off the fingertips of Zaruzin and goes out of bounds off of Effingham. Makes it 21-19 in favor of St. Anthony. Here comes the serve from the Bulldogs. Set a little tight, or the pass is a little tight rather for the setter to handle, and it gets into the net and drops. It's now 22-19. St. Anthony serves it across, and there's a quick attack by Felicia Totten. She saw the open court in front of her, and she was able to dump it across. What an alert play to make it 22-20.
That was huge. That's a key point because St. Anthony gets up 23-19. They about got her locked.
Effingham finds themselves still with a chance here. The quick attack for Went. It's dug out of there by the Hearts, but Effingham has to free ball it over. Mumm with the pass. Now Mathis on the quick attack. It's dug again by Zaruzin. Effingham gets it to Rain, and she powers one across. It hits Broniker, but Broniker couldn't handle that one, as that one had a lot of heat on it.
Hit her just the wrong spot. What were you going to do with that?
So it's now 22-21. Effingham trying to get themselves evened up here. Here's a pass from Nuxall. It's tight. Battle at the net. It's finally shoved across by Ramey. Mathis goes on the attack. Nice jump set over to Went. Went will take the swing from the middle, and she drives it down for the point. It's 23-21.
But another set by Mathis. But I tell you, she just sets people up so well.
And now she goes to the back row to get ready to serve, but Effingham's going to take the timeout here. Last time, Greg, they took a real quick timeout. I think we better keep it here with it this late in the game.
Let me remind everybody that we'll be back Friday night with high school football. Effingham playing host to Paxton Buckley Loda. Kickoff at Klosterman Field at 7 o'clock, and you can hear the action here on 97.9 XFM and on the web at 97.9xfm.com. And Wayne will be there taking beautiful footage, and it'll be on the website over the weekend. So we hope for a big crowd. Effingham's footballers have a lot of talent, and I really think this is a team by season's end that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So I'm looking for a big crowd out there Friday night.
23-21 the score. St. Anthony with the 2-point lead, and they are serving. Josie Zaruzin passes it up beautifully to Totten. They go to Robb. Cross-court kill from the right side is good, and it's 23-22.
So, again, it's anybody's game.
And again, Effingham goes into the rotation where Robb is in service. Her serves have been very effective tonight, and this has been a good spot for Effingham to score. We'll see how St. Anthony handles it. Robb serves, goes to the back row, pass beautifully up to Mathis to Went, and she drives it down.
Well, Went's been a force, especially in that middle spot of the front row. She is just burying them.
So now it's game point, 24-22. As they ran that so quick, Effingham's defense couldn't even get set up. So here's Broniker with the serve. 24-22, and that one is in with an ace.
Wow, right on the line. Effingham let it go, and it was just in, and St. Anthony wins the match.
Well, that one tipped the net and then just dropped on the line, as you mentioned, over on the opposite side of the court. What a great volleyball match. 25-22 in the second one. St. Anthony won 25-21 in the first. So St. Anthony victorious in the battle of the city schools.
That's it. 2 games and you have the win, and St. Anthony at home gets the job done, and Both teams want to win. I think both teams learned a little bit about themselves over the course of this one, too. And both teams played much better as the evening went along.
Yeah, we didn't see those service errors that we saw early, really, for both teams. But that was something especially that we noticed from St. Anthony early. Didn't see that late. And you play good competition like this, win or lose, it's only going to make you better.
Exactly. Let's take a break. Here are one more informational item from our friends at Prime Soul, and they'll be back with a post-game show in a minute. Again, St. Anthony wins it in 2, 25-21, 25-22 over Effingham. More in a minute on 97.9 XFM.
What a night of volleyball, Greg.
It was fun. And it is fun because of the atmosphere, because of the cause, the two city schools, a lot of enthusiasm, just rolling into the start of the school year. A lot to be happy about. And we'll find out later about how much money was raised, but it's a great thing when people get together and do something like this to raise money to battle against a common enemy. That's pretty nice.
I'm sure Effingham's going to be disappointed with the loss, but again, I think they played well, and I think they played a good quality opponent, and we know Lori Bonoff was standing there talking with St. Anthony's coach Christy Bailey for a second. They were both smiling, and I think both teams have to be pleased with the effort they put together here. And now Lori has made her way up to the booth, so I'll let Greg chat with her if I don't stumble and fall down here.
That'd be great if you didn't. Yeah, thank you, Matt. And we'll let Lori visit with us here for a second. The second game particularly was anybody's game. I mean, just back and forth. I'm not sure it was a 2-point difference until it got to maybe 20-18.
Yeah, it was back and forth. I mean, pretty equally matched teams, to be honest. Get a little frustrating when you lose that because you're thinking just one or two things different, and both games kind of go the other way. But that's what happens with two good teams.
Yeah, that's true. Serves might have been a bit of a problem at some points tonight.
Yeah, actually, St. Anthony gave us a ton in that first game. I think they missed more than we did. But both teams knew they were serving pretty aggressive because if you give them a little lollipop, both teams had big enough hitters that it's going to come back as a really hard hit that it's almost, if you just give them a little lollipop inbound serve, it's like giving the other team a kill. So both teams wanted to serve aggressive to keep the hitters from having a perfect set. So that explains a little bit why both teams were serving aggressive and missing on occasion.
Different kids do different things, and maybe they don't get noticed. But I thought Stephanie Robb was just a monster out. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. I thought she just played a great night.
Yeah, she did. You know, she was reading where they were setting pretty well and was getting some blocks on some kids. And she was hitting real well. She was hitting good cross-court shots and wasn't missing too often. And we were trying to use her. I just felt like sometimes she rotated through the front row pretty quick, and then she wasn't in the game. And so that kind of hurt us a little bit. But yeah, I thought she had a good game. I thought Ramey had a good game at times.
Yes.
She was hitting real well. And the rest of our kids, wasn't that we had a poor night. I just thought it looked a little inexperienced. They had a real quick offense, and that's all due to their setter. Their setter is great. And so they just have a really fast offense. And I didn't think we did a great job catching up to it. Our blockers were late a lot and that kind of stuff. And I thought Stephanie did a good job of reading their setter and taking care of her.
That said, it seemed to him that you got a lot of points when Stephanie was serving, too.
Yeah, she serves pretty aggressive, and she happened to be on tonight. Sometimes, and last year and the year before that, she'd miss a little bit, and she will this year at some point because when you serve aggressive, that happens. And I think Matthew might have been in the back row when she was in the back row, which makes the difference because when she was in the front row, I was purposely serving very aggressive because if she's in the front row and we serve easy, it's probably going to end in a kill, or she's going to get a kill. It's a good set to a big hitter, or she's going to kill it herself. So that was how we tried to approach her.
When we talked before the match, you talked about the fact you've got some size, particularly height. I think people understand, well, yeah, you can reach over the net, but talk about what else that advantage is to you to have some height.
Well, it just makes you strong across. We're pretty deep with our height. We don't have, like Stephanie Robb's 5'10", but then we've got 4 other kids that are 5'9", 5'10", 6 foot, 5'11", and so that definitely makes it where the other team can't focus on one player, and so it makes it a little tougher to block. And they have big hitters too. They're no different than us in that respect. They have more than one hitter. I mean, I think Matthew and Nuxall definitely are their two big guns by far, but their other kids do a nice job also, and they're tall across the front line also. We match up well against each other. I thought maybe they definitely played a faster offense, but then they also just played a little more experienced, and that makes a close game go their way, I think.
Talk a little bit, would you, about this next couple of weeks as you're getting your season started?
We have Newton Thursday night, and then next week we're actually off until the Crossroads Classic, which is our big tournament. And so we're hoping to get Newton on Thursday night. A little rivalry there just because our JV coach went and is now their head coach. And then which is great. I'm super happy for her, and it's where I'm from, so that's definitely a big game that we want to win. And then Crossroads Classic, you go in there and we just kind of hope to win 3 out of 5 games. Would be a huge tournament for us because every team there is huge and really good. So then we all start conference shortly after that.
I know George Wenthy talks to me every year about the Crossroads Classic and the teams that come literally from all over the Midwest to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's a big tournament, and it's 24 teams, and I'd say 20 of them are just out of this world, where if we were playing them regular season, 20 of them, I'd say, wow, we'll be really fortunate to get a win out of 20 of those teams, and that's just how good they are. And I think we're good. I'm not belittling us because I think we've got a pretty good squad, but that tournament's just really deep and really good.
We'll look forward to that. Lori, all the best to you. Thanks for the visit.
Thank you.
You bet. Arts coach Lori Bonoff. Appreciate her coming up to chat with us, and we'll yield the microphone now. And where I am. Don't mind me. Anyway, Katie, thanks for coming up, or Christy, pardon me.
That's all right.
For coming up. And I'd mentioned to Lori, I didn't know, particularly in the second game, I didn't have any idea who was going to win because it was 1 point or tied, it seemed to me, until I think 20-18.
Oh, yeah. We knew that was going to come. We knew it was going to be exchanged, firepower versus firepower for a long. We just went back and forth, and we just happened to be on top this time.
Yeah. What did you learn about your kids?
They got a lot of heart. They know when to dig deep and play hard.
Yeah.
And they really wanted to win. I mean, they're seniors. I've coached them since 8th grade. They've beaten us every year, and we just wanted to win, and they really fought for it.
There were some kids who were really tearing it up. And we talked on the pregame about Mathis and the way she gets people in position to look good.
Yes.
She doesn't much care about looking how she looks. She gets other kids in position to do well.
Right. She's a huge distraction, which is great. I mean, she goes up there and she pulls 2 blockers, even if she's in the back row. And it's wonderful because then our hitters are like, yes, Haley pulled the block and I got no blockers. So, and Megan Nuxall, Megan was on fire. And I just said, keep going to her. And she did good.
I said one time I thought she was in a dog pound and came over to get ready for one hit. I mean, she was really torn up. And Lauren went.
Yes, Lauren.
Very aggressive tonight.
That's always our goal, to get Lauren balls. It's a little harder when you're in the middle because that pass has got to be there perfect. But when we can get it to Lauren, she can hit it straight down too.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We talked in the get-go about the fact that this is for a great cause, and that shouldn't overshadow things, but it sure is a nice reason to be here. It
is a nice reason. It's good for the community to get together too. A lot of these girls play together in the off season, and it's a good rivalry, and it's a friendly rivalry, and the parents, they all get involved, and we had a big crowd, which is great.
Yeah.
And it's all for a good cause.
Talk about what's up for your squad here in this next couple of weeks.
Well, we keep playing like that. Hopefully we can start winning some tournaments.
There you go.
Yeah. We have Edwards County Thursday, who went to state last year. They didn't lose hardly anybody. And so that's a big challenge for us, and we're going to hope our game is on and control some of their outside. They got some big outsides too, and then we'll see from there. We go to KZ Westfield for a tournament.
Very good. Well, thanks for having us over. We had a blast, and congratulations on the win.
Well, thank you very much.
Our pleasure. That's Christy Bailey, and she's the coach of this St. Anthony squad, and they won it in 2 tonight, 25-21, 25-22 over the Effingham Hearts. So.